This year's European Development Days in Brussels focused on gender equality. Within that framework, CTA built a case for women entrepreneurs and women farmers in rural areas by improving their access to ICTs.
We know that women are mainly producers of food and they mainly provide labor, but they do not benefit from agribusinesses as much. Very few women are on the business end of agricultural value chains.
So by giving them access to technologies that can improve their productivity, generate more income, create more jobs for the youth, I think women would do well.
So many of these innovations in ICT can make it much easier for women to engage in agricultural production, marketing, value addition and so on. So that's why we feel that ICT is a game changer in terms of closing the gender gap in agriculture.
Sharing of ideas or sharing of information and being part of a community. So in that respect, that's where we've seen our biggest success, is creating a community for farmers.
We find some examples and good examples for some of them that allow them to reach better the markets, to have better knowledge about the prices, and to manage better the trade they are doing for their products.
When we say digitalization, we mean the transformation of the business process behind agriculture, so the business process across the value chain. So we mean, for ourselves, like at CTA, we're looking at transforming how digital financial services are provided to smallholder farmers, looking at how advisory services can leverage digital technologies for smallholder farmers.
We ensure that women farmers get access to our kind of technology that we're doing by first make sure that we survey their farms. And once we survey their farms, then they're able to get proper advisory services according to the kind of conditions that their farms are, so that they farm in a smart way.
Agri is a USSD application for farmers. It gives farmers access to information, so your farming tips, weather alerts, market information, pricing information, announcements, events, just generally information that can help farmers. But beyond just information, we also have access to markets. So farmers can actually participate in a mobile marketplace by creating mobile stores, so they're able to trade with each other and connect with each other.
One of the things that has become a really valuable tool has been moving away from paper-based record keeping to tablet-based information recording. And what that means is we can get that information into a database on the computer, and we have at our fingertips a very rich source of information that we can interrogate, that we can pull apart, and we can actually search for specific bits of information we need in terms of looking for new markets or where particular growers might be based that could help supply certain amounts of product, etc.
It also gives farmers access to low-cost communication through chat and group chat, so they can communicate and collaborate, share ideas, and share best practices. And then we also have access to internet-based applications such as Wikipedia and email.
I think there's always already existed a gender gap, but now with the advances in technologies and the pace at which it moves, it adds to the problem. It almost exacerbates the problem. So we find that where women were facing a lack of access to finance, for example, now we have tools that can help that and make the process better, give them access to loans. But if those same women don't have access to these technologies which are meant to improve the situation, the gender gap just seems to get wider and wider.
We see a predominant increase in access to mobile ICTs. We have over 170% mobile penetration. But the issue then becomes connectivity. So access to broadband, access to data and internet becomes expensive, and therefore becoming a hindrance for women having access to those the right digital tools to enable them to improve their farming practices.
Most people have a mobile phone now in Samoa and even in the rural remote areas, but the capacity of that phone is very, very limited to using mainly for phone calls. So we're not talking smartphone technology with availability of apps, etc. at this point in time. Data connectivity, or those things come into play also, that can be prohibitive and also a bit ad hoc sometimes in being able to connect into the system. It can be weather dependent, I can tell you that from my own experiences.
But in the rural areas in Malawi, like where I train women, it is so hard. Like we don't have access to ICT, and because of this it has been hard for us to do the marketing and any other thing. So it is really a crucial problem in the areas I work with, that ICT is not easily accessible.
I think that first and foremost is for women to be encouraged to enter into this field. And once they're encouraged to enter into this field, they may not necessarily be the engineers, but they will have an understanding on how that can be able to solve their everyday challenges.
We are going to support them through training, and we are going to run 2 specific trainings. The first training is really around improving their leadership skills. The second training is going to focus specifically on how do you operate in a global marketplace? How do you make your businesses succeed? What are the things you look out for? Where do you get business intelligence from?
Women need to understand that they have a voice when it comes to participating in these issues, in these matters, that programs and solutions shouldn't be just placed on them, but that they have a right to also say how solutions should be delivered for them, what the solutions should be, and how they should be designed in such a way that they can benefit. So I think that women need to stand up and participate more as citizens, as global citizens.
Issue obviously is funding, cash flow issues, not having enough money to support your business, to support scaling. So creating better ways to finance and have access to finance for young entrepreneurs and enterprises.
So if we can address the cost issue perhaps by partnering with private sector to present women with ICT tools that are affordable for them, then I think we could help to reduce the divides.
I think we see now that the work that CTA is supporting to get digitalisation technology into rural areas to support women farmers, they have excellent projects, the evidence is all there. Now we need to scale it up as we talked about, and that's the next challenge.
Absolutely. We have several projects that have worked quite well at a small scale in ICTs, in digitalization. But again, the challenge is how do we scale them up so that they can benefit a large number of farmers. So our priority will be to take some of these innovations and try to integrate them into larger projects so that we achieve results at scale. This is really critical. And then the partnerships that are important with governments, with the private sector, with the data operators, mobile service providers, with a whole range of players, so that really ICT can and digitalization can support rural communities.
And its sustainable development goals. Indeed, we have
Women, they will progress in the next generation only if there are technologies in the rural areas, technologies like ICT, technologies like agro-processing systems. So if there will be those kind of things, then I'm so sure that the generation of farming in the rural areas will improve in the next years.
We have a lot of work to do yet, but we have also very good will from women themselves to follow the experiences, these good experiences, and our organizations in general, our partners are supporting us to help them, to help these women reach a good level of working in the rural areas.
It is time for action, definitely, because we have talked a lot about what can be done, and we have shown what can be done, but it's really now time to, roll out ICTs and digitalization innovations to help in the transformation of agriculture, which is critical in achieving the sustainable development goals.